Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I'll be a judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today we have Greedent for Ultra Premier Cup. What I meant to say was that if you watch my video for Open Ultra League, Greedent's really good in that league. And it's also pretty dang good for Ultra Premier Cup. So, quick thing about Greedent. Greedent is a pure normal type Pokemon. It is obscenely thick. It has a really big butt. And it has a... Its butt is, well, I don't know. Its butt is hard enough to where, well, that's defense. So its butt's huge enough. I would say huge because, you know, when it's HP, it's huge. Yeah, so it has a huge amount of stamina, making it really, really good for Open Ultra League as well as Ultra Premier Cup. As a pure normal type Pokemon, pure normal types are double resistant to Ghost and weak to fighting. Now, the thing about Greedent, even though it doesn't have a super versatile moveset, the fact that it has Bullet Seed, Body Slam, and Bite makes it a really interesting mon for Ultra League. Also being XL and being obscenely thick, as in its big booty, as in its HP, as in its, well, not defense, but HP because of stamina. It's really powerful because it will last for a very long time and spams a whole bunch of Body Slams. And it's really, really good, again, for Ultra Premier Cup. Alright, as I was saying, please consider contributing to PvPoke.com. So, if we go to the rankings, Greedent for Ultra Premier Cup ranks at the top 100. The interesting thing about Greedent is that with Bullet Seed, Body Slam, Crunch, you absolutely destroy and wipe out a lot of the water meta. The thing about Ultra Premier Cup is that it's essentially the XL Cup, but a lot of those XLs are actually water Pokemon. So because of that, Greedent does really well just because of Bullet Seed, Body Slam, and Crunch. It has a very fantastic moveset. Now, you do lose against things like Dragonite, etc. Basically things that do resist Bullet Seed in a sense. So that's a good way of looking at how to really gauge of what you can't beat. Ironically, Empoleon also takes you out, so things that do a bunch of like fast move damage, like fast move pressure, can take you out as well. Greedent XL is best used in the lead for Ultra Premier Cup. It does really great at breaking a lot of really big XL meta cores like the Jelli A-9 core in the lead, etc. So it's definitely best used in the lead. Like I mentioned before, its only real weakness is that fast move pressure. Bullet Seed isn't isn't super like oppressive outside of just getting a bunch of energy and spamming a bunch of moves. So outside of that, you're going to lose against things like Charmers and Fighters, again, in the 2-shield. Alright, so here's the PvPoke.com matrix. This is the part you probably all skipped to. I have a Greedent. This is a rank 1 level 50 Greedent at 315-15. I also have a level 51. And then I have the default one. So a little bit of attack can matter, but honestly, the matchups are too close that I wouldn't bank on it. But as you see here, you don't need a rank 1. The regular one will do. Or rank 1s, etc. Like, you don't need them completely. You can level 51 it. There are a lot of things in Ultra Premier that you can excel and probably will be better than Greedent, so a level 50 is perfectly fine. You got the Ultra Premier Cup meta to the right, hit the 2-shield, hit battle, and here we are. Now, this is what makes Greedent so powerful in the 2-shield. You're going to lose against a lot of things that resist Bullet Seed, like I mentioned, like Charizard, Talonflame, Fire types will melt you, things like Galarian, Stunfisk, and Skarmory, of course, because it double resist Grass-type moves. You'll also lose against Charmers. Sylveon and Togekiss are very powerful in the 2-shield. Things with fast move pressure. Machamp and Obstagoon, of course, like I mentioned. Anything with fast move pressure, and including Pulling, Waterfall, will probably kill you. Now, the interesting thing is, in the 2-shield, you actually are able to take out things like Dragonite and Altaria XL in the 2-shield. That's what makes it such a powerful lead. Dragonite's a popular lead, and the interesting thing is, you could just Body Slam it to death. But the thing about it, you have to this is the regular version, not the Shadow version. So if it's the regular version, you can straight Body Slam to death. If it's the Shadow version, it will Dragon Claw you and Dragon Breath you down to death. So it's also a very low rating of 510. So yes, you beat it, but it's really close. As you see here, you'll beat it with all 3. So even if you have high attack, the bulk allows you to live. But again, if you lag for 2 turns, you will die to Dragonite and some things. Anything with a 500 rating is super close, so yes, you will beat it, but just be very careful. It's a lot more solid to depend on 500 ratings when you're in the 2-shield, because you're going to start that way. So nothing else, unless it's lag, will affect that matchup. As you see here, it's very, very powerful against a lot of things in the 2 shield. Now, the big thing I mentioned is that it breaks the Jellicent A-9 core. You beat Jellicent, both versions, whether it's Hex or Bubble. You will also beat Alolan Ninetales, both versions, Powder Snow and Charm. The Charm one's close, but the Powder Snow one isn't. As you see here, you do outthick Alolan Ninetales. This makes Greedent incredibly powerful. You also beat Politoed XL, as well as Umbreon XL in the 2 shield. So it beats a lot of very heavy, powerful Ultra Premier Cup Mons. So very, very powerful anti-meta in the 2 shield. It also beats Kingdra. So Kingdra Safe Switch is very popular. You also beat it in the 2 shield very convincingly, by the way. Unless if it does debuff you, it kind of sucks. Because if you look over here, as you see here, even if it debuffs you twice, it's up. But if it debuffs you once, you still win. So that's what's really good. Even if it does debuff you, because it's so thick, you will still win. But if it debuffs you twice, it really sucks. Yeah, coin flip, GG. But yeah, it does beat, even if you get debuff once, it's very powerful against Kingdra Safe Switch. So this is a very powerful anti-meta mon. Alright, so in the 1 shield, Greedent generally beats everything in the 2s, except for a few things. You drop the Dragon Breath users in Altaria and Dragonite, so you'll drop both of those possible winning matchups in the 1 shield. In the 1 shield, you also will lose Alolan Ninetales, so keep in mind you do drop it. As you start losing shields with Greedent, it gets progressively weaker. You still beat things like Kingdra, Lapras, Jellicent, Gyarados, basically a lot of the water meta. You also beat Galvantula. Galvantula is a big one too, because Galvantula XL is very powerful in Ultra Premier Cup. It beats Galvantula XL pretty convincingly in the 1 shield. You also beat things like Slowbro as well as Snorlax. So it's still in the 1 shield, even though you do drop, like I mentioned, those 3 matchups. You drop Dragon Breath. You still beat a wide variety of the Ultra Premier Cup meta. So again, still really good in the 1 shield, even when you drop. But still, the one thing I would be really careful of is that not really be very careful, just be mindful of the matchups you lose, because as you see here, you still lose against Apollyon in the 1 shield, you still lose against things like Ferrothorn, etc. So as long as you have a good hint of what you lose against, generally you'll still lose against it regardless of whatever shield scenario you're in. Alright, so the Zeros is actually Greedent's weakest area. You'll pick up Abomasnow, that's pretty much, I would say, the only notable one, along with Dragonite in the Zeros. But this assumes that everything works out perfectly and you don't lag. Outside of that, Greedent is generally the same, I would say, as the 1 shield, except for the 2 that I mentioned that you will pick up, Abomasnow and Dragonite. But the big thing you lose in the Zeros is you will lose Umbreon. Umbreon's the big one that you lose. Umbreon is very powerful in Ultra League, so if you do see one, just keep in mind, if you don't have shields, you're gonna go down. But Greedent still will lose against generally what's supposed to lose against, and again, you only pick up 2 really relevant matchups in Abomasnow and Dragonite. You still beat Kingdra, but it gets really close. As you see, 502, 506 along with Lapras. But generally, if you reach this point, it's very likely you will, you're already at an advantage, and you probably already beat Kingdra and Lapras, because you'll likely throw Greedent into this matchup when you have shields rather than the Zeros. Alright, in the 1-0s, Greedent is insanely powerful. It beats a lot, anything with a 1-shield advantage is going to vibe pretty hard. However, Greedent, as you see here, it can still fall to fighters as well as anything with a fighting type charge move. If you hit it with a Focus Blast, you're going to die. Fighters will also generally beat you, as you see here. Gallade, because of close combat, Excavalier, anything with counter Machamp, for the most part, will give you a hard time. Greedent does pick up some flying matchups. For example, Mandibuzz, you can beat Mandibuzz. You also are able to pick up Talonflame. So, with a 1-0 advantage, you can pick up some of the flyers. You also pick up Charizard. Now, the thing is, some meta picks, like Venusaur, which is very popular in back, will still truck you. So just be very careful. Yes, you beat a lot of things, but just keep in mind some things like Venusaur or Galarian Stuffus XL Skarmory can still wipe you out. So it's not too comfortable. Also, Pidgeot XL, since it's going to be unbanned in Season 9, is going to pretty much wipe you from the face of the earth. Just be very careful. Just because it does resist Bullet Seed and it will debuff you. And, of course, Obstagoon, just because, again, fighter counter users will take you out into 1-0s. The 2-0s is where Greedent is really interesting. If you reach this 2-0 shield advantage, you beat everything. Yes, you can beat Venusaur with 2-0 shield advantage. So you beat everything in the Ultra Premier Cup meta if you have a 2-0 shield advantage. So it makes Greedent really, really interesting. Now, when you go to 2-1s, yes, you beat everything in the 2-0s, but in the 2-1s, you drop a few things. So just keep in mind that if they have a shield, they can still run through you with Clefable, with Clefable and Togekiss. Also, you drop Talonflame and some things as long as that one shield, the one shield matters basically is what I'm trying to say. However, with shield advantage, you are able to pick up G-Fisk. You are also able to pick up Venusaur as long as you have shield advantage. So you do pick up some very relevant matchups. Generally a good thing. The one thing you should probably look out for, since Venusaur is so popular, I would just keep in mind that unless you have 2 shield, anything in the 2-to-1s and below, you can beat Venusaur. That's basically it. In the 2 shield, if you're in the 2 shield scenario, you will lose against Venusaur. That's basically what it is. So that's the only one that I'd really highlight. You still lose against most of the fighters, so you're still going to lose against Crafty, Machamp, etc. So just keep in mind, you're still going to lose against them regardless. Also Empoleon. Other than that, you will convincingly beat Dragon Breath users like Dragonite, also Charizard, and Altaria XL. So it's still very, very strong in the 2-to-1s. Having shield advantage with many mons is very good, but as you see, Greedent's even better just because you body slam everything to death, and you have a really comfy cushion with, well, anything with shield advantage is going to have a lot of cushion, but as you see, Greedent in Ultra Premier Cup is really good. And that's GG's! Greedent is a very powerful mon in Ultra Premier Cup, as you see here, especially in the lead, and if you have shield advantage with it, its Body Slam and Crunch combination is very powerful. Just keep in mind, you will die to everything that's fighting. I always say that just because I've actually seen someone that was using Greedent. I'm not gonna say who what content creator is, just for memes, and they stayed in a fighters match because, oh my gosh, it can take a cross chop, and I'm like, no, it's not really. But yeah, just if you see a fighter, just be very careful. Other than that, Greedent is very good for Ultra Premier Cup as an ultra and kind of an anti-Metamon. Greedent does beat a lot of combinations in that league. Just keep in mind that some matchups, like the Dragon Breath matchups outside of Kingdra, is kind of iffy, so just be mindful of it. But again, Greedent's best used in the lead, so I would put Greedent in the lead and then put 2 switches with it that cover fighting types, and you'll be pretty solid for that league. The only problem with Greedent is even though its second move is only 10k dust, it is required to be an XL to be effective. XLs aren't cheap, so you're looking at a very hefty amount of dust to spend for. Also, if Ultra Premier Classic, I'm still getting tongue twisted from that. Ultra Premier Classic comes out, you won't be able to use Greedent because that league likely won't allow XLs. So again, for the XL league, which is Ultra Premier Cup anyways nowadays, Greedent XL is very powerful. The only problem is it's really expensive. Again, good way to look at Greedent to use in Ultra Premier Cup. If you're going to use it, you're going to lose against fighters or anything with a fighting type or the fighting type charge move. So just keep that in mind. Outside of that, Greedent does beat a ton of combinations, and because of its bulk and body slam, it's really freaking good in the lead. So, as a lead, it's your best friend. Well, not really your best friend, but it's really good. If you do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily subscribe by putting your mouse over that little box that says subscribe to the bottom right, and then you can easily subscribe from there. Thank you to everyone that subscribed so far. I appreciate all my current subscribers. I wish you the best of luck in your Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.
Ciao!